Well, hello, beautiful people. Well, I'm feeling better. I survived COVID, and I do have to say, as most of us probably know, what doesn't kill you gives you really unhealthy coping mechanisms. But yeah, I survived. I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling great. I'm back to working. Funny thing is, when I did go back to work, about half the crew wasn't there. In fact, there were quite a few people out when I was out, including the coworker I mentioned that I drive home every day. He ended up catching it. One of us caught it from the other. I don't know who, or we both caught it from the same person. Who knows? And just as I passed it on to my girlfriend, who you probably hear snoring in the background, he passed it on to his roommate. But everybody's coming out of this fine, at least me, my girlfriend, my roommate, my coworker, and his roommate. Everybody's coming out of it fine. My coworkers who caught it, most of them came out of it fine. One, I understand, did wind up in the hospital, and haven't heard what's going on with them. I'm going to go ahead and assume no news is good news, because I haven't heard anything if their condition's gotten better or worse. But I do know that coworker who is in the hospital is one of my many coworkers who is unvaccinated. In fact, while I was out, I thought about it. I thought about saying to the boss, hey, maybe require everybody to get the vaccine. I thought about saying that to the boss. But reason why I didn't, well, I don't think most of the people there would go for it because, like I said in my last video, I work with people who are absolutely convinced that that vaccine is going to put a chip in you, or it's going to make you magnetic, or some other conspiracy theory, weird, crazy shit they believe. And there's a chance that if it came down to get the vaccine or keep your job, well, some of these guys would probably go work somewhere else. So I'm not going to try to even talk to my boss about that because I would like to think by now he's probably thought about it himself and probably weighed out the pros and cons of it. I would hope. I just don't want to be the person to say this. So Anyways, like I said, I've gotten over this. I'm feeling fine. My girlfriend did get hit harder with it than I did because that's the way it seems to happen every time I catch something and pass it on to her. She gets it way worse than I do. But like I said, she's fine right now, and even though I didn't have it that bad, I will still say I don't wish this on anyone. I honest to goodness do not wish this on anyone at all. No. This is some bad shit. And like I said, I'm sitting here thinking, I know what I went through, and I didn't wind up in the hospital. I didn't wind up on a ventilator. I don't even want to know about that. And I really don't want anyone going through that. That's awful. There's one comment that I saw that I do want to address a few things from. Somebody did suggest that I go to the hospital and I take whatever the hospital may want to give me. I'm not saying that's a bad idea. It isn't. That's actually a great idea. My problem is, one, I live in America, and even if you have insurance, well, hospitals are kind of pricey over here. Worse yet, I live in Florida. I live in a very densely populated part of Florida, and hospitals here are kind of full. So I really didn't want to go to a hospital unless I absolutely had to. So I didn't. I actually really didn't take... I just smacked the microphone. Sorry about that. But I actually didn't really take anything for this. Nothing that I wouldn't normally do if I had the cold or if I had the flu. And I drank lots of fluids, got lots of rest. That was really it. And, the reason for that, I didn't know what to take for it. And by the time I tested positive, I was starting to feel better. Like, I wasn't anywhere near 100%, but, that was a Tuesday that I got tested and tested positive. The days before that were way worse. That weekend before that was terrible. Labor Day weekend for me was terrible. And Tuesday after Labor Day weekend, I wasn't feeling great, but I was feeling better than I did Monday. So I didn't really worry too much about it. I wasn't going to go to a doctor, I wasn't going to go to the hospital unless things took a turn for the worse. And my girlfriend, and same with her. She had a couple days longer than I did, but nothing really took a turn for the worse. It was like a really, really freaking bad cold or flu. So that's where I am at. In case anybody wants to know, I am feeling better. I'm back to working. I'm back to working 50, 60-hour weeks. So, good times there, yeah. But yeah, that's all. I'm back to working. Life is good. And, everything's kind of back to normal. I've got lots to do at work because half the crew's out. So, and this is... I guess this is kind of another thing. Like, for a lot of you people who were, hooting and hollering about your freedom, okay, well, think about it this way. What about, you're looking at your freedom. What about my freedom? What about, me not getting piled up with work because people are out with COVID? What about, these are just things to think about here. You talk about your freedom, well, okay, what about my freedom not to have COVID because, I did my part, I'm wearing a mask, I took my vaccine, somehow I still ended up with it, which happens, but still, if everybody got vaccinated, it would be less of a problem for everyone, and people wouldn't be taking time off, and one of the people we're pretty much covering for at work here is the one guy that wound up in the hospital. He's another welder like me, so there's that. And it's one of these other things to think about. You could be infecting somebody else while you're sitting there hooping and hollering about your freedom. You could be infecting somebody else. You could be passing this on to somebody else. It's just something maybe to think about. If you're not vaccinated, get vaccinated. Yes, you might still catch COVID. It'll be nowhere near as bad. It might just pass right through you and it may be nothing. For me, it was a nasty cold. Nastiest cold I ever had. But wear a mask, get vaccinated, and we'll all get through this. Because the alternative is more people die. And 600,000 people have died, and it's not good. Not a good way to go. I don't recommend it at all. I don't recommend catching COVID either. So, thanks for listening, everyone. I'm getting kind of rambly, so it's time for me to finish this video. So, thanks for listening. Have a good day. Love you much. Bye-bye.